Good morning, everyone. Hope you are all doing well this morning. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about a story from the Bible. Now, one of the main functions of the Bible, that is the Hebrew Scriptures and the Christian New Testament, is to provide us with stories about how we as individuals and as whole societies ought to behave, or how we ought not to behave towards one another. And many of these stories, especially the ones contained in the Hebrew Scriptures, have what we think of as good guys and bad guys, or heroes and villains. The overarching theme is that the good guys are the ones who listen to God and do what's right, and the bad guys are the ones who don't listen to God and are oftentimes violent towards or oppress the good guys. But this is a pretty simplistic way of looking at these stories, and oftentimes there's quite a bit of gray area in between who the good guys and the bad guys really are, just as it often is in real life. And one of the most well-known stories, even though it's one of the shortest, is the story of Jonah. And the story goes that Jonah, an Israelite, is called by God to go to the city of Nineveh, the capital of the Assyrians, and tell them to change their ways before something bad happens to them. But Jonah did not want to go to Nineveh. The Assyrians were the enemies of the Israelites. They were, in Jonah's mind, the bad guys. They didn't worship Israel's God, and Jonah didn't think that they would listen to him. And even if they did, Jonah thought they deserved to be punished anyway. So Jonah tries to run away. Now, this is the part of the story that most people remember. So Jonah's on this boat in the middle of the sea, and there's this great storm that comes up. And the sailors on the boat decide to throw Jonah overboard because they think the storm is his fault because he made God angry. And when Jonah does go overboard, he's swallowed up whole by a giant fish. Now, do I really think that this happened just the way the story says? No, I don't. I know that some people do, and that's fine if they want to believe that, but I don't think the point of the story is to prove that there are giant fish that can swallow people whole. The point that the storyteller is trying to make is that we can't run away from our problems. We can't run away from something that we're meant to do. Then the Jonah story, I think, teaches us an even more important lesson. See, after Jonah is coughed up by the fish after 3 days, he finally does agree to go to the city of Nineveh, and he gives them the message to change their ways, to turn from doing evil and oppressing people. And the king and the rest of the people in the city actually listen, and they respond. And so God spares the city. And this makes Jonah angry. Remember, he saw these people as enemies, as the bad guys. So he wanted something bad to happen to them. But God says, no, I will have mercy on them, and you, Jonah, should show them mercy and kindness as well. Sometimes all of us find ourselves being angry with someone or not liking someone who's different than us, or maybe someone who has wronged us in some way. And maybe we think if something bad happened to them, they'd be getting what they deserved. Maybe we find ourselves even wishing that something would happen to them. But when we think that way, we're not really hurting them. We're only hurting ourselves by letting those kinds of angry, toxic feelings build up inside of us. And maybe if we take the time to get to know them, understand them, and see things from their perspective, we'd see that they're not really that different than us. That we're not the good guys and them the bad guys, but that we're all just people. And most of the time, I think people deserve mercy and a second chance. So I wonder, has there ever been a time in your life when you have wished something bad would happen to someone that you didn't like? If so, did it make you feel good to think those thoughts or bad? And then I wonder, has there ever been a time when you gave someone a second chance, even if you weren't sure that they deserved it? If so, were you glad that you did? Something to think about for this week. I hope that you all have a great week, and I will be back again next week with another chapel message. Until then, stay safe and God bless.